Welcome to Top of the Hill Fitness. I'm Carrie. Today we'll be working on our hips with some moderately intense intervals to build strength of the hips and everything around the hips. Great for those of us, like me, who have been sitting a bit too much. All of our muscles are tight and short. Building hip strength will help us run and move better when we get out of our chairs. We've got beautiful artwork by Danny Singer on the wall behind me. Our warm-up will start with a jog in place. All right, easy jog. We're going to warm up for just a few minutes, get things going. Easy jog, arm sweeps if you like. Get the whole body warmed up. We'll move into a high knee march next. So we're marching on the spot, knees coming up nice and high. Remember your nice running arms. And we'll keep that going for about 15 seconds. Think about nice straight up posture too during this. Hip openers next. We'll alternate side to side with the hip opener. So a bent knee, lifting it up and out to the side and replacing it back in the front and moving on to the other leg. Feeling that nice opening action of the whole hip joint. And we'll do a leg sweep next. Sweep one leg in front of the other, way around the side and way to the back, and then move on to the other leg. We'll do a side stretch next. Just leaning over one side, inching one hand down the thigh, opening up the whole side body. And just keep alternating that, taking a few seconds to do each side. We'll switch to step jacks next. Stepping out to the side, arms above the head, and move on to the other side. Sunflowers up next. Arms above your head in a nice big sunflower and moving off to one side, around the front, up the other side, and then reverse direction. We'll do a forward lunge next. So starting on one end of your mat, forward lunge one step, and then just keep going in that same direction. So you're doing a walking lunge action. Then you can turn around and come back when you get too far. Hip circles next. And so just trying to open up as much as you can with a big circle action of the hips. You can see how tight my hips are trying to do this action. So hopefully yours looks a bit more open than mine. Just getting some nice wiggles in there to open up the hips. We'll take a 10-second little break to get ready for the intervals next. first up, we'll do a curtsy lunge, alternating sides. So we're doing curtsy lunges, 2 sets of them for 30 seconds, alternating side to side, not a frantic pace, thinking about good form, using all the muscles around the hip. We've got complex action in the curtsy lunge, so lots to benefit from here. You can even work on your balance while you're doing this. And we'll take 10 seconds off between. Okay, next set of curtsy lunges coming up. All right, 30 seconds of curtsy lunges. This is our last set of curtsy lunge. We'll move on to a one leg hip raise, alternating sides next. Take 10 seconds to come down to the mat and we'll start up the hip raise. We're alternating sides for this hip raise. So thinking about pushing down through the whole foot while you're raising up, just using that one leg at a time. Ten seconds to go, and we'll take a 10-second break and do this 30 seconds one more time. All right, start up your second set of the 30 seconds alternating one-legged hip raises. Thinking about staying very stable through the hips, no lateral motion there. And trying to be even side to side in how high you're raising your hips. We're going to do a front leg lift alternating next. So standing on one leg, lifting the other one as high as it goes in the front. Thinking about your balance and staying stable through the hips. Getting some good action, flexibility action on the hamstrings doing this. And some work on the hip flexors. Take your 10 seconds and we'll do one more set of those front leg lifts. And starting up the front leg lifts. Ten seconds break, and we'll do side leg lift next. So to balance out those front leg lifts, we'll lift it to the side this time. Getting some good strength work on the outside of the hip with this side leg raise. And still some benefit to our balance. Take a break and we'll do one more set of the side leg lift. And up and out to the side, alternating sides. We've got a deadlift coming up next. All right, quick little break here, getting ready for deadlift. Hinging forwards from the hips, coming down so your back is parallel to the mat, and lifting that bar up and back to your hips. Thinking about using your glutes and using your hips to straighten up. Little break here, we'll do that again. And hinging from the hips, leaning over, getting that bar, bringing it back to your hips. You can keep a little bend in your knee too. And halfway there. We've got donkey kick next. Okay, take a little break. We'll be doing the donkey kick from standing. We'll alternate again for the donkey kick. So out to the back with a bent knee, straightening out the leg, and then replacing the foot on the mat and moving on to the other leg. And keeping your balance. Quick break, and we'll repeat that 30 seconds of donkey kick. And start it up, donkey kick, alternating. And we've got foot circles from lying on our back next. We'll alternate again with this one. So a big circle with the foot, one in each direction, and then replacing that foot back to the mat and moving on to the other foot. So once in one direction, moving in opposite direction, and then move on to the next leg. And we'll do that one more time. Circle in one direction, circle in the other direction, and move to the other leg. Come on back to standing. We'll do a sumo squat next. Legs wide, feet pointed outwards. And this is a great one for getting at the inner thigh and using the glutes as well and the quads. Little break, and we'll do a few more sumo squats. In 3, 2, 1. The photograph on the wall is by Danny Singer. It's a composite image made up of about 100 photos of the town of Gainsborough, Saskatchewan. By taking multiple head-on photos of all the buildings on the main street of the town and then weaving them together, Danny creates an image with no fixed perspective. In a way, these images act as documents of a time and place, and in another way, they're fictions, because you would not be able to see the town this way even if you were standing in the middle of Main Street. We're going to move on to a side lunge next, alternating again. So lunging off to one side, replacing that foot in the middle, and lunging off to the other side. We're alternating the exercises side to side to keep us really balanced in the hips. So we're doing the same thing from one side to the other. Take a quick break and we'll do 30 more seconds of the side lunge. Lunging off to one side. Try to keep your back straight up as much as you can. About halfway there. Forward lunge is next. So we'll just do an alternating forward lunge next. Stepping out to the front, lowering down, and coming back to the start position, changing legs. Really think about using the muscles of the legs to push yourself back up to standing after you've lowered down in the lunge. Take your break. We'll do that again for 30 more seconds. This is the second to last exercise. So you'll get a little bit of a stretch on your hip flexor on this one, and some good strength on the front leg. And come on down to the mat for our last exercise, hip circles from kneeling position. So first in one direction, then changing directions, and moving on to the other leg. So one in each direction on one leg, and moving on to the next leg. Think about making that circle as big as you can, really opening up the hips. And take a little break, and we'll do that one more time. And starting up those big circles, really using everything in the hips, getting a bit of a stretch and a bit of strength in this. So come on up. We're going to shake it off for a few seconds, jogging in place, about 20 more seconds, and just do a quick little hip stretch after that. So let's do a side lunge off to the right, really getting at the inner thigh on the left side. And just getting ready to change to the other side. So getting into the right adductors. We'll hold that for a bit. And come on down to the mat. We'll do a butterfly stretch to finish things off. We're thinking of pressing down through the hips. See if you can lower your knees towards the mat. And leaning over to get deep into your hips as well. You can push your feet out a bit further to go really deep on the hips. And that is our hip strengthening workout for you. Thanks to Danny Singer for the wonderful artwork. And thanks for working out with us. There's more information about Danny's work in the description below the video. Please subscribe and send us your comments, and we'll see you next time at Top of the Hill.